to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. We have a first on the agenda is Charlie was here. Yeah, Charlie. Joint meeting with Conservation Commission regarding Chapter 61A lots on lots 1 and 2 on Cook Road and County Road. And the Gwinners I see are here also, and I apologize. Charlie?
Well, I'd like Malik to explain. They have interest in having the town buy that property, and I'd like them to explain and articulate why.
Okay, didn't refresh my. I thought we had a paperwork to take the land, and actually there was a transfer I thought going on. So is that what it was, or?
It's in the packet. It's lots County Road and Cook Road.
There's 2 lots between Cook and County Road. It's in 61A, and they would like to take it out.
Oh, okay.
The town has the option of
First refusal.
purchasing it.
Right.
Where's this land on the power lines?
It is between John Ortby Drive and then there's, County Road and Cook Road.
Yeah.
It's 3 lots in the triangle there, just bordering Easthampton.
Okay, all right.
Am I mistaken? Is this the old junkyard?
No, this is
Past that.
Easthampton.
That's another one.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Chair, are you going to allow us to chime in?
We right on. Go ahead, Red.
No, actually, my brother is kind of...
Oh, okay. Well,
we're going to address anything that comes up.
So do you have something to say? I mean,
well, we have a right of. We've been asked to take the land out of 61A, and for the first time that I can remember, the Conservation Commission would like to acquire that land as a right of first refusal. Am I correct?
I think we wanted also to acquire the Pleasant Street property that was going to be part of Pleasant View Estates taken out of 61A. We had 28 acres that were going to 10 houses on that cluster development. And the Conservation Commission voted then also to purchase that property rather than take it out of 61A.
Mr. Chairman, that was the gun property over to Kellogg.
Yeah. So, I guess somebody should, let's summarize what we're trying to do here, because I'm still confused.
let's go by one piece of property at a time.
Right.
So, can we stick to Cook Road?
I can give it from the Conservation Commission. We voted 3-0 with 1 abstention to go ahead and recommend to the town to purchase this property. It is contiguous with some state wildlife and game property, and I believe there's 169 acres out there. There's also a potential of, another 27 acres that people are talking about. And we felt just because of where it is, because it's a wildlife corridor, that it would be a good thing for the town to purchase.
And can I just, maybe I should have done this first. Is there, somebody got a map of this parcel?
Yes, we do.
That would kind
I'm
of,
trying to look it up on this.
they've got a map, and I don't know why I didn't ask for that right away to put it in perspective.
I think what has to be made clear is we have a design of this 30 acres of land, which has been in the family for 95 years. Out of the 95 years, 3 children have been educated. So, in fact, we can develop 14 lots out of this. So, I mean, if they're trying to stop 2, let's just do it right and go for the whole boat.
Oh, okay, so now I'm getting a picture of what's going on,
Very good.
I think.
Now this makes sense.
Why doesn't somebody come up and show us?
So you're talking about, this is the conservation land on the other side here that was a trade-off from this land next to the school, right? This land here?
The Schmidt.
Is that the...
Wildlife on some property.
Yeah, isn't that right there?
They sold that property to them.
This here.
Okay.
But we've already been in touch with Mass Wildlife to see if they'd be interested.
Yes.
And they said because there's a paved road here, the wildlife doesn't want to cross a paved road. So they're not interested. We've been to BayPAC, Barnes Aquifer, see if they're interested. They would like it, they don't have any money. Last year I went to the Southampton CPA. Are you interested? Because I have to act. This has been, my aunt died 25 years ago, and I'm trying to appease 11 other parties involved in this.
Good luck with that.
Good luck is right. So a year ago I says, if the CPA has any interest in it, let's act on it. Otherwise, we're going to divide it into building lots. And they said, well, we really don't have any money. So that's why we're here. And my question is, where is the Conservation Commission going to get money to buy 2 lots? And then what about all the rest?
So these are the three.
Wait a minute, that's why I want to come back.
Those are the two you want to take out?
These
These are the 2.
These are the
Okay.
two we're talking about right now.
Right.
But this is the eventual, this is already put into the county deeds?
These
This year?
These two would be A&Rs without you, so you could develop those at any point in time.
That's what we're here for tonight.
That's why the purpose of this document here.
Exactly.
So they could, no subdivision required.
None of it's
Oh,
subdivision.
no,
They're all A&Rs.
they're all A&Rs.
They're all
Okay.
A&Rs.
Yeah, that's right, because there's roads on
So
both
is
sides.
this Bob's property down here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bob's up there.
Bob's here, and this is Barbara's? He's
Yeah,
here?
yeah, Barbara's is here.
Okay, so that becomes, so the question becomes, conservation would like to acquire all that,
Well,
the whole parcel?
ultimately, I think, don't say the conservation, we're talking about the towns.
Yeah, well,
We really feel strongly that, yeah, it'd be nice to have the whole 30 acres.
30 acres.
Do you have any money?
Don't look at me.
Well,
I'm a poor guy, look at these guys.
I'm poor guy.
We're poor, you do.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, maybe they'll buy some of it. I mean, most of it I wanted to, but...
So, does any, then that's the ultimate question, then the next
Bob has
question.
something to say.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been on the phone with BayPAC since last Friday, going back and forth, and I heard the story about how you tried last year to work with Easthampton and they didn't have the funding because it was the wrong budget year, or whatever. This, however, seemed to spur them on that they can't come up with the funding for those 2 lots. However, this is making, they now possibly have someone to come up with some money to do an appraisal of the remaining property, and possibly then they would try to work instead of just with Easthampton, because we in Southampton, or the Conservation Commission did not know about this last year. So now we're kind of at the last minute putting us in this position. But going forward, they might be able to work with both Southampton and Easthampton towards looking at joint funding. Easthampton's interest in it, as Mr. Gwinner said, is because of the Barnes Aquifer, it's their drinking water. Our interest in it is the open space contiguous to the wildlife, the state wildlife land. So it could be a win-win-win proposition that the Gwinner family could be compensated for their family land. It could still stay open from the Southampton perspective, and Easthampton could have the drinking water. But because of the building lots and the sizable property, it would most likely need to be a joint venture. So with Easthampton, so the thought was that if we could at least bring it up before the board, because it can't be just the Southampton Conservation Commission doing this, it has to be the 2 communities, and to put it before you as something to consider. And I also had, there's separately a resident in town who had come to the conservation meeting concerned, she is studying with Mass Audubon about habitat and bird, and other wildlife population corridors. She took a look at it and had said that, yes, because the combination of field and forest in conjunction with the other property, it is, valuable in that regard. So the land has multiple values to different people.
So if it's 13 lots, and the lot's about 100,000. Like 1.3,
Pardon?
You're talking about, Red, you're talking about each lot, just ballpark is maybe worth $100,000 if you sold them, and
Well, no, we have a bona fide offer for $125 apiece,
so then you're still talking like $1.5 million.
1.75.
1.75.
Yes.
For the whole parcel.
Exactly.
When the property gets appraised, it's whatever it gets appraised at.
No, it's what we appraise it, it's what I can sell it at.
It's
I'm
appraised,
the appraiser.
it's appraised at fair market value.
Right, so maybe it's a
Unfortunately,
combination.
because guys like him can do that, right? I mean, we would appraise it also from a town point of view, and then, you know, do negotiations, go back and forth to figure out a third potential. It's all by 61A, but he's absolutely right, it's fair market value.
So it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. But you only have open space once. Once you put a house on it, you'll never get it back, so.
Red.
This has been ongoing. We have letters from Baypack. We got,
August 19th last year.
And that's,
They would get back to us.
Right.
August 19th, last year.
And I'm not-
Never heard a word.
we haven't heard a word. I mean, anybody can rile up the pot. All you have to do is say there's a turtle on the land.
Turn
Like
spot
what
is-
happened, all you have to do is read the letter to the editor in the Springfield Republican today about what happened to Mr. Pepin in Hamden.
well, the question becomes, you've asked us to take the land out of 61A. We'd like to, certain town boards would like to purchase the land for 1.7, or in the area of 1.5 to 1.75 million. Where we'd get that money at this point in time, I don't know, but the next question I have to ask is, how long do we have to sign this paperwork
120 days.
from when it came in?
When did it come in?
That's what I'm looking for. The letter from their attorney is January 29th of 2014, assuming we received it within a reasonable proximity of that date. Call it February 1st. We're 30 days into, what did you say, 120?
120 days.
We're at least 30 days into 120 days.
And you said, Red, you guys have been waiting since last August?
Well, that's the...
Yeah, that's their solicitation to other people. Their request to us is January 31st.
Right.
That's our start
That's
date.
our request to you.
That's our, and that becomes our start date.
Right.
We have 6 months, rest of it. Yes, ma'am.
Just to be clear, the matter technically before you today is the 2 lots.
Yes, that's
The
all.
rest is just to raise the subject.
Right, we have not been requested, and the only thing we're concerned, the only thing that's running on this 6 months is the 2 lots.
Right. Well, I can tell you right now what I'm going to do.
I know what you're going to do.
Okay. So you can tell them.
I assume we'll get a letter very shortly on the other parcels.
Exactly.
Kind of figured that's what would happen.
Yep.
So basically, we're on a 5-month timeline right now to find $1.75 million. Put the coffee can out.
Charlie, what is the realistic chances that you have $1.75 million for this land?
Yeah, it's
gathered?
fairly low. But it brings up a point. This type of discussion, as well as the one on Pleasant Street, conservation commissions, that's counseled by the Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissions, have a process in which the commission can go around and look at all the properties that they think impact significantly wildlife, recreation, or wetland resources. And understanding what they are, they can gradually have a priority. Say, which one do you think we can afford and would be best for the town to buy? And then go after getting monies from the state or from CPC to go after that prioritized list. And that takes time. You have to spend a year or two. It's just like the Greenway. You know, you end up with paperwork this thick to try and purchase something like that. And you get a consensus from the whole commission that these parcels are really good, 61A or 60A, and we'd like to get those into the town's ownership in the management of the Conservation Commission. That's not easy to do. And but we need time, and we're not, just because we get something about a month ago, we just don't have the resources, and these, relative to other parcels within the town, may not be competitive. And the whole commission has to find this list and even approach these people who own the property and see if they would be interested eventually, in time. And that's the process.
Yes, right.
Does the Conservation Commission have a representative on the Community Preservation Board?
Yes.
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 Who might that be?
It's Randall and tomorrow night it's going to be me. But it may be someone else in the future. Yeah.
Well, it was brought to their attention
Well, and
a long time ago, right?
right, well, here's, I guess the buck stops here. What's the choice of the board? You've heard both sides of the coin. You've heard that we'd like to own it. We've heard the price tag. We've heard the difficulty in obtaining the necessary funding. We've got a landowner who has a right to develop his land. We can delay that for 120 days. What do you wish to do from here on? I guess we have three alternatives: sign this tonight, or continue to hold it. And the third is to
I've always been a strong believer
I'll continue.
landowners' rights. So I understand where Red and his family is coming from. But I think, in fairness to the town, I think waiting to see if there's a counteroffer from conservation and whoever, but a specific timeline. I don't want to drag this out for you guys. I think you guys deserve, due process of this and not have it dragged out. I think we could hold it for a certain amount of time, let the conservation know that you have until this time to have something.
Well, I mean, the only realistic place we have to take that kind of money, and there's not that kind of money, is CPC.
Well, at least give them the chance.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, but I mean, that's the only pot of money that we have locally, and it's certainly, I don't even know what's in there, but it's not that much.
Charlie, what would be an appropriate amount of time within 100 days or so that you would feel that you would have the chance to actually work on this to some...
Well, it won't take that long. I can go to the CPC and ask them.
Okay.
And that's...
And then what, you said something about working with Easthampton, and when would they be able to say something?
Well,
I'm not on BayPAC, so I don't really know. They said they would start the process.
We have a representative on BayPAC. I think it's Slattery's on there, and we should find out from
They met this
him.
I
afternoon.
mean, I think at this point in time, from what you're saying, is we should anticipate that we're going to use the 6-month waiting period.
Is it 6 months?
Well, not
Not anymore.
120 days, I'm sorry, not 6 months.
Minus
The month we've already used.
Yeah.
Would that be okay with
So we
you?
got 90 days.
I was gonna
Now I'm
say-
saying, why was I saying 6
I was going to
months?
say we have 90 days
90
to make
days.
up our mind.
But,
We have 90 days.
yeah, but the 90 days is for those two lots.
Oh, those two
Right,
lots.
the two lots.
Hasn't come before us.
No.
Right.
It's not that we can't, or some group can't discuss with the family the other property.
Right.
But since no one has yet, even though Mr. Gwinner has said he will go and do that shortly, since it hasn't yet come before us.
Probably not until tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Be subtle, Rick.
That one, there is more time in that there is no ticking clock on that.
No.
The ticking clock is on the two lots.
Two
But I
lots.
want, in fairness, if you're looking at the whole piece, and in fairness to them, I mean, that's what really sort of you're talking about.
We would
I just
rather
want to give you
look
an
at the whole piece.
opportunity to go for the whole piece, and them an idea of what that timeline would be, in
It is
fairness.
of more value, of course, to have the
Together.
first and the piece. But we would rather have 27 acres than no acres. So if the three have to go, so be it. But it's, and then one doesn't have to just get the money from the town there. But as Charlie indicated, you have to then go to the land trust and complete the case. And that all takes a lot of time.
We've already dealt with Easthampton. Water Department, Easthampton, they sent 2 representatives and BayPAC, and their consensus is either they get the whole thing,
Right.
or they don't want any.
Well, my only point here is that,
All-
so this, what we should do so that we don't lose track of this is put this on an agenda, the last agenda in April. And we'll, certainly for discussion and or vote purposes, and then everybody can come forward. So whatever our last meeting in April, is that okay with the board? Just so we don't lose track of it? schedule it for the last meeting in April.
Brett, is that okay for last weekend in April? Is that okay?
Your boss.
Charlie, is that okay with you guys? Does that seem like a fair amount of time you guys can work things out?
And we'll see where we are at that point in time.
Okay,
All right, satisfactory?
Thank you.
thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
I'm going to give this back to you, Reg.
Can I ask a question, Brett? How is Bob? Yeah. Sorry.
Gone, not in a good way.
Stay there.
What I mean.
That's where I was assigned.
Oh, you were assigned? Oh, you know what, we got Randall's papers somewhere, that disclosure statement, I passed it along. That should stay with the package. Because that has to do with that.
At the finance committee meeting over our budget.
Come on.
How are you been?
Busy too, I'll get back to you.
Woman needs a bed. Did you get your bed yet?
No, tomorrow.
Gosh.
So we have an executive session scheduled to discuss MGL 30 sub 21 sub 1, which is reputation, character, physical condition, mental, rather. I don't have any paperwork. What's...
I think Heather has the paper.
Heather has the paperwork. All right, so we're going to go in, I'll take a vote to go into executive session.
Moult and I.
Cheers,
You and I will be coming back into open session after this is concluded, I hope around 7 o'clock.